course, I had to schedule this episode to go up the 4th of July weekend, which means the ironic title of Monday Movie Musings on Tuesday is going to come true because pretty much guarantee this video is going up on Tuesday. Off to a great start. Welcome to the very first episode of Monday Movie Musings on Tuesday, the show where the only things that matter are movies, where dreams are made to come true. I'll come up with a slogan some other time, but right now I want to talk to you about why you should not trust movie critics. Let's say there's a movie coming out that you are really hyped for. You cannot wait to go see this film. You're about ready to go see it, but before you do, you think, wait a minute, I want to make sure this movie is worth my money. I'm going to go see what the critics have to say. You go on Rotten Tomatoes, 30%. Or you go and watch a review from one of your favorite YouTube movie reviewers, your Jeremy Johns, your Chris Stuckman, whoever, and they gave it a lower grade. So you decide to skip it. Later on down the line, you catch it on cable or it comes up on Netflix and you decide, what the hell, I'll give it a shot. Turns out, you love this movie. It captivates you, it inspires you, it takes you on an emotional journey and entertains the hell out of you. This is your thing. But wait a minute, every review you looked at, every video you watched, told you that it wasn't that great. Well, the critics were wrong on this one, and thanks to them, you got cheated out of seeing it in the theater, right? Why don't they see what you see? This movie is genius and the critics are blind! Okay, by now you may have figured out that I'm being a bit facetious here. Truth is, I've seen so many of these headlines. 15 movies the critics got wrong. 12 movies where the critics were totally and completely wrong. Ignore the critics. 10 rotten movies you should totally watch anyway. And ironically enough, even though that last webpage is most definitely clickbait, it's the headline that I most agree with. And I don't even care what the 10 movies are that they listed. If there's a movie that interests you, go watch it. Screw the critics. Now wait a minute, aren't you framing yourself as a critic on this channel? You've already uploaded a couple reviews. Are we just supposed to ignore those? No, and not just because I want your views, but because the point of this video is that so many people miss the point of a critic. Critics technically work in the field of journalism and are meant to be viewed more so as reporters covering an event, the event being the movie. Now, critics have the advantage of having an education in film. If someone is a professional movie critic, chances are they have seen a massive amount of films. And not just major releases, but films from throughout the history of cinema. Studio, independent, foreign films. They have an extensive knowledge of this subject matter. So, therefore, they're able to provide a much deeper analysis than your typical moviegoer. Putting all this together, if you read or watch a review from someone who critiques film for a living, their job is to inform you. Roger Ebert, arguably the most famous film critic of all time, said you need to give the film its day in court. If a critic is doing their job right, you should be able to read a negative review and still think that you might want to see that movie. The critic's job is not to make you agree with them. It's to let you know what's in the movie. And yes, they do give their opinion, but it's from a more objective point of view. They're letting you know what problems they had with the movie, but it might not necessarily be problems that you might have. So in short, as the title of this video says, the critics aren't wrong, you just have an opinion. The critics are there to give you an idea of what kind of movie to expect, so you as a consumer can decide whether or not it's a movie for you. I know, it can feel really rewarding when you have the same opinion as a critic and you get to hear them voice the thoughts that you have. That is a really magical thing, but don't discredit the power of a healthy debate. If there's a movie you love that others aren't really fans of, wear that as a badge of pride, and then go out and through a civil and respectful discussion, try to convince others of what you see. Or if there's a movie you don't like that a lot of people do, play the opposite role. Let them try to convince you what they see. And maybe it'll open your eyes to a perspective you never considered before. Film is a constantly expanding art form with endless possibilities for expression as well as interpretation, so don't let a dissenting opinion hold you back from what could be a really great moment. So guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for this first edition of Monday Movie Musings on Tuesday, which means next week is going to be my first positive review of a movie. And if you're confused by that statement, which you probably would be because this is my first video in this series, there's a schedule right here that shows what the idea is going to be. It's a 4-week rotation, and yes, every 4th week we're going to have a negative review because I know how much the internet thrives on negativity, so I thought I'd give that to you guys, even though it's going to be hell for me, but that's part of what makes YouTube so magical. But anyway, the review for next week, it's a positive review, a movie that has had a positive impact on me, and the first one that I picked out is the Harold Ramis directed Bill Murray classic Groundhog Day. So I hope you join me for that. Bye.